Hey everyone, my name is Lyskov. Who are we not familiar with? Nice to meet you. Well, maybe you know me. I am an actor in musical theater and film. I have been living in the United States of America, in New York, for 4 years now. I continue to work in my profession. What is our conversation about today? From my conversations with my wonderful friends actors, directors, casting directors, and choreographers, I always receive the same questions. About how film production is organized here, how it differs, and perhaps I could share something. Guys, if you find this topic interesting, please, according to YouTube's rules, as always, give it a like, leave a comment, and generally show this wonderful service. That provides us the opportunity to share information that this video is relevant to you, meaning it is interesting and necessary for you, and in this way, we will apparently meet more often. Write your questions. Perhaps, because I have been living here for a long time, some things have become ordinary to me, and I might forget that there is a significant difference. If something is unclear, feel free to write in the comments. I would be happy to respond to you, and I might also clarify something. And the most interesting topic that everyone is curious about is how much actors earn. And the most important thing is, how much do non-Hollywood stars earn? And how much would we earn if we just found ourselves on a film set right now? No one divides you into amateurs and professionals. If you can work, you work. If not, then you don't. Easy, right? It's much simpler to say that. If you can't, you will learn. Right, let's start with salaries. Salaries are probably the most complicated issue because we are always accustomed, due to our mentality, to fear the moment of discussing salaries, especially in the Russian context. It seems like you have to beg for something, remind others of your achievements, and so on, in order to get paid fairly. In America, for example, you really don't need to worry about this because, of course, you have an agent. And secondly, the agent doesn't need to worry either because all the prices are preset. There is what is called a scale. In Russian, there is probably some kind of pricing structure. This is a pricing grid, based on which you are paid. But what influences it? How does your price affect it? You are a star or an ordinary actor. Being an ordinary actor is wonderful. It means that you are not a celebrity. That's what the rates are already preset, the so-called scale. What is this table built from? This table is constructed from several points that need to be considered. First, there is the type of project. It can be a feature film, a television project, or what is known as new media. New media includes platforms like YouTube and Netflix, which are currently producing content. And the second point is the number of working days in a week. This, for example, affects the level of your pay. That is, for instance, you can sign a contract for 1 day, 3 days, or 5 days. In other words, 5 days is a full week. And this is how you will be paid. For example, if we are filming a series together, I can share my experience with you. I appeared on CBS, one of the largest channels, in the TV series Madam Secretary. It was a guest role. My role took only 1 shooting day. The number of your days is calculated based on your role in the episode. So they look, for example, at the production and planning department to see how long it will take. Usually, they will tell you right away, for example, that it will be 3 shooting days. How is this calculated? Everything is actually very simple. So let's take a look at the table and see how much you will be earning. By the way, all this data comes from the official guild website, so these are today's. Super, let's take a look at the tables and see everything in action. We are currently looking at how much work in television and new media costs, specifically for platforms like Netflix, Hulu, and any other platforms. Let's say our role fits into 1 shooting day, which means we will be referred to as day performers. Right now, this costs $1,005 per day, before taxes. A stunt person is a stunt performer who is paid exactly the same as an actor who plays the lead role. This is also a moment of respect for the work. If our role, for example, takes 3 days, then we, as performers, will receive $2,545 before taxes for those 3 days. Note that this is slightly less than if we simply multiplied the daily rate by. This is just about how it turns out to be cheaper in bulk. So it's like you're giving a discount to the production for your participation with them. And that's when we started having weekly performances. So, if our role is permanent, for example, if filming 1 episode takes us several days, it will be almost a week. So, we are looking at the performer and it will be $3,488. $488. Note that a week consists of 5 working days, so if it were calculated by the day, it would be around $5,000, but in bulk, it is cheaper and the work costs $3,488 before taxes. Now, look at what term performance is. It's a thing where you have guaranteed work for 10 to 20 weeks, up to 19 weeks. That is, if you signed on for guaranteed pay for 20 weeks of work, which apparently involves some very long-running television shows. Your pay will be $2,994 per week. By the way, you can check how much background work costs. I have already mentioned in many interviews that background work is really great. It's a good opportunity to make money. You can earn $174 a day. Note that stand-ins cost $204. If you're interested, write to me in the comments, and I will make a video separately explaining what a background actor is, extras, stand-ins, how they differ or do not differ, and what a photo double is. Everything changes depending on where your series will be shown. That is, if it will be shown on standard television, those are different prices. If he goes somewhere else, that's different. It's also a very interesting topic with singers and dancers. Usually in Russia, this is paid less, but here it is considered a special abundance, some extraordinary abilities. That is, if you sing and dance, you will be paid more for it than if you did not have those skills. And that is absolutely correct. It is a different skill. Therefore, you see, a solo costs $1,124 per day. If you have a group singing with 3 to 8 people, it will be $988, and for a group of 9, it will be $860 each. And over there, further along, there are choirs and so on. That is, if you are, for example, in a huge choir with 100 people, more than 17, in this case, you will each receive $644, which, by the way, is also quite good. And if, for example, you sang a song off camera, you would receive $1,124. I will leave all these tables below so that you have the opportunity to read and familiarize yourself with them. So, the next thing we will look at together is the prices for theatrical. Right, theatrical is Chico, and again, who is this for? Feature films, but note that, yes, a day performer costs exactly the same, meaning that if you just came in and your role was completed in one day, you will receive $1,005. So, yeah, here's the difference. If you are filming in movies, then most likely your work will be paid either for one day, yes, if you finish on time, and if your work, for example, takes 2 or 3 days, then you will be paid right away, just like for a week. You will receive exactly the same amount per week as in a series, $3,488. Therefore, the answer to the question of whether it is worse to act in series than in feature films seems to me to be about the money. It's absolutely identical. Indeed, the quality is very high now. Yes, but it's all the same. In other words, it's all the same for cinema. That is, singers are paid the same as the lead character. Dancers will receive the same amount, $1,005. Dancers will also be paid for rehearsal. For rehearsal, dancers will be paid $592. Very cool. Very cool. However, I don't understand why dancers need rehearsals while singers do not. Apparently, it's assumed that you'll learn it at home. Well, so what? Let's look at the most interesting part, the advertisements. However, the scale of advertising here is very complex. I will also leave this table and a link in the description so that you have the opportunity to dig around and take a look, because this is interesting data. Perhaps it will be interesting and useful to someone. Another important point that I wanted to clarify is that all the prices we are currently discussing are for 8 hours of work. That is, this is without overtime. All overtime is paid automatically. There is no need to specify it in the contract. It is automatically included. The guild supports you, and the union fights for you. That is, for any overtime starting from 15 minutes into the 9th hour, you will immediately receive an increase in your salary. The same will be paid to you if, for example, you need to get a haircut or if you need to try on costumes, which is called a costume fitting. All of this will be paid for you. That is, if you need to come in before the shooting day to, for example, try on a costume, prepare, shave, or get a haircut, the production will take care of all that, and of course, you will be paid for it. You will be paid an additional 2 hours for your work. That is, it is a quarter of your fee. If your fee is $1,000 per day, then 2 hours is a quarter of your shift. Accordingly, that would be $250. That is, every time you are called, for example, for a fitting, or for a haircut, or for any preparation, you will be paid an additional $250 each time. American time costs money. So everything here is about money. And I actually think this is very correct because we are spending time on this. Overtime is a very interesting topic. By the way, if you're interested in more details, I can record a separate video about how overtime is paid and how it is calculated. I mean, it's all about numbers, numbers, numbers. There are certain formulas used to calculate adjustments based on the hour worked and how things are processed for you. If you're interested, please leave a comment. Let me know if you want to hear about recycling, because that way I'll understand what people are actually interested in, and little by little, I'll share everything. There is a lot of information, it's great, and I have a wonderful opportunity to share it with you. A very interesting point that I would like to discuss further is the payments to agents. You do not pay the agent out of your own pocket. The production pays. In general, the agent is an intermediary, a legal intermediary between you and the production. The agent's task is essentially to ensure compliance with all these contractual matters. I want to make a separate video about this to explain the difference between agents in the United States and in Russia. But I will tell you in advance that for any filming day when you are approved for a role, it will be stated that it's scale plus 10%. These plus 10% agency fees are exactly what the production covers for the agent's work on your behalf. Everything is fine with the agent. But if, for example, you have a manager, then you will be paying for the manager out of your own pocket, and that's a different amount of money. And in fact, there won't be much left because the manager takes about 20%, and it will turn out that you will only receive half of the total fee, because there is also the issue of taxes. This is the third point I would like to discuss. Taxes are usually calculated here right from the start, meaning you will receive a check with all taxes deducted. Alternatively, if you choose a different tax form, you will have to pay the taxes yourself, but at the end of the year. However, the key phrase here is you will have to pay. If this video was helpful or interesting to you, feel free to leave comments, subscribe to the channel, and give it a thumbs up. Thank you for watching. I hope this information was helpful and there will be more information in new episodes. Goodbye, this is Tyoma Lyskov, and I'll see you on my channel. There's a bell, all that stuff. Please, that's it. See you. Bye.